Good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 116 of Love at First Sense with me, Persolaise. If you've been here before, you know the drill. I just need to go on the tablet to make sure that everything is coming through loud and clear. And wow, a few comments already. Thank you very much. First comment goes to Angela. Hi, Persolaise and everyone. Very much looking forward to today's live streams and so happy to be able to watch. Thank you very much. That's very nice. Umberto says hello. Flaconess says, me too. How great to see you here again on YouTube. Greetings from Germany. Ashfaq is saying hello. Feels like you haven't been around for a while, Ashfaq. Frag Chi-Town says greetings from Chicago. DB70 says hello, Mr. P, and everyone in the chat. Greetings from London. Well, it looks like the party's ready to start. Ashfaq says, if I recall correctly, you did a Francis Kurkdjian rose a few months ago. Did I? I probably did. I can't remember. Well, not this one, because this is a new one. Q George is saying hello. Eric says hi from Texas. Hello. Frederick is saying hello. And Fahmi says, glad to see you again, sir. Almost midnight from Indonesia. Thank you very much for staying up. Vitali saying good evening from Stockholm. And Peggy says greetings. And I hope you enjoyed the greeting from the Peggy board. Okay, Angeline here as well. You're all here. Feels like we haven't done this for a while with all of you here, but thank you very much for tuning in. For the benefit of those of you watching live and those of you watching the recording, thanks very much indeed for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. Please also click on the little bell so that you receive notifications of upcoming videos. Please consider supporting my work on Ko-fi. You will find the information on that in the video description below a few hours after the live broadcast has finished. This is going to be a single release video, which means that we will do a blotter update in the video description a few hours after the end of the video. And I guess the only thing that remains for me to say, what else do I normally say in these little introductions, is yes, hearts, thumbs up, likes, etc. are appreciated. Comments, please leave them at any time. Questions, I try to get round to them as quickly as possible, so feel free to interact in any way. For the benefit of those watching live, I should say that the plan for today is that we're going to be doing 3 videos back to back. We're starting with a Francis Kurkdjian video, then we're going to go on to something that kind of has a tentative connection with Francis Kurkdjian, and then we will do a third one as well. This one I have smelt already. The 2 that I'm planning to do in the next 2 videos are ones that I'm going to be unsealing, unwrapping in front of you, so a little bit tense. But if you are not watching live, if you're watching the recording, that what I will also do as soon as I can is link to the other 2 videos in the video description below, so that you'll be able to watch them and pretend that you've been in this party with us on this Sunday afternoon. I missed a few comments, keep them coming. Q George says, yes, you did the lower. Okay, lower Lars. Okay. Ashfaq has retracted a message. Oh, okay. And Keith says, got my coffee and I'm all settled in and ready to go. Fantastic. Everyday Products is here as well. And Chang says, bonsoir from Paris. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay. This is the latest release from... Actually, I'm really panicking now, hoping it's in here. Yeah, I think it is. That would be a really good live episode if I said, I need to go and get the bottle. No, thank goodness it's here. This, I think, is coming out in the next fortnight. It's imminent. And you can see that it is called, excuse me, it's called L'Homme à la Rose. And so, yes, you can straight away get the idea from that it's meant to be a rose aimed at men, with the attractive rose graphic here that the brand would like us to notice is not just showing off the flower, but also the stem and the leaves and the thorns, which is supposed to be significant. Now, like I said, this isn't one that I haven't smelt before. I've smelt it before, and I've also worn it a few times before, because I really wanted to give it my full attention. And well, let's spray it. I'm guessing very few people out there have tried this yet, because as I say, it's not actually out yet. Taffy says hello from Chicago, hi, and Everyday Product says perfect time for the stream, makes time go by faster before Champions League final. I think this will probably be the first time and the last time that I'll be treated or seen as a filler for football. That is football, right? Champions League final is football? Yeah, it must be football. And hello from Seattle, says Sabra. Okay, let's spray this. This is L'Homme à la Rose from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, which means obviously the perfume was composed by Captain Kirk himself, Francis Kurkdjian. Okay, so like I said, I have tried this before. Hey, from smoky California, says Nubianet. Oh, is that a bad reason why it's smoky? Okay. Angela says, we'll get it in early. Love the shirt. Thank you very much. Yeah. Let me say from the word go, that I'm going to be reading some press material about this as well. The shirt and hair are everything. Oh, thank you so much. The hair is a lot of everything, I think so. Yeah, it's a bit of an understatement. I have to confess, lukewarm about this release. Now, as a brand, I think Maison Francis Kurkdjian is very, very strong. As a perfumer, obviously, I think he's tremendous. And I think he's also very, very interesting to talk to. I love interviewing him. I haven't had a chance to interview him for a while. It would be amazing if he agreed to do one of my live interviews, because he is genuinely fascinating to listen to about the craft of perfumery, about the history of perfumery. He's extremely knowledgeable. He's extremely passionate. He teaches, or certainly he used to teach, perfumery students at ISIPCA, the perfumery school in Versailles. And he is actually quite a rare example of a perfumer who can articulate his thought process and can talk in a coherent, interesting, engaging way about his work. Because if you think about it, just because somebody's good at something doesn't mean that they also necessarily have to be good at talking about what they do, right? You know, a lot of perfumers are happiest working in their lab and creating these beauties that we enjoy smelling and wearing. But sitting in front of a group of journalists or being interviewed is an entirely different ballgame. A very, very different set of skills is required for that. Francis Kurkdjian has both of those skills. And as I say, he's always entertaining and knowledgeable and interesting. I always learn something from him, and I also always appreciate his candor and his honesty. There are some interviews with him that I've posted on the blog, so go over to persolaise.com, and on the interviews tab, if you look down, you've got this index of all of the people I've interviewed. So always excited by what the brand releases, and I have lots of favorites from the brand, including Absolu pour le Soir, which is becoming harder to get. I love his original Oud, and I love the à la rose that came out in 2014. I think it's really one of the most gorgeous, one of the most attractive modern rose scents. This one, you can tell I'm holding back a little bit. If I were to say to you, one of the first hits that you get from this is, I really hate to say this, is Woody Ambers. Now I can feel all the live chat comments starting to go, what? Yes, I guess what Kurkdjian decided to do here is that he thought, okay, if I'm going to make a rose for men, or at least a rose that has men masculinity, there you go, Angela's going, no! Yeah, or at least a rose that name checks masculinity. He probably thought that maybe he needed to go for Woody Ambers because that's what everybody seems to be doing. For the few of you who may not be aware of what I'm talking about, there is a particular, the man-spreading rose, says Flacconess. Actually, do you know what? It's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. It's too polite to be like that, but I think maybe if it wanted to man-spread, sorry, what am I trying to say? I think it wants to man-spread. Okay, this is what I mean. It wants to man-spread, but it realizes that maybe that would be going a step too far. So it's got that man-spreading instinct in it somewhere, but it's just a little bit too well-mannered to actually do the full man-spreading thing. Like I was trying to explain, for those of you who may not be aware, there is a particular subset of perfumery ingredients that have become very popular in recent years, particularly in masculine perfumery, because they're extremely long-lasting, they're very powerful, they're very tenacious, and they have this velcro-y, spiky, abrasive woody amber feel. Sometimes they're called woody amber, sometimes they're called ambery woods, and obviously they are extremely important perfumery materials that can be used well and interestingly, and have been. You know, if you, I suppose the kind of classic modern example is Frédéric Malle's Unrehearsed, which uses a significant amount of one of these materials called caranal, but it works beautifully in that composition. When they're overused, they can be quite brash, they can be quite man-spready, and that's why I struggle to love L'Homme à la Rose. But there's more to be said. The weird thing for me about this scent, and by the way, I'm not ignoring your comments, I'll get to them in a sec. The weird thing for me about this as well is that I don't actually get a particularly prominent or huge rose note, which is kind of a little bit of a problem, I think, for a scent called L'Homme à la Rose. If I wanted to wear a rose that was maybe geared a little bit more towards stereotypically masculine codes, then, for instance, one of the things that I would reach for is the Moschino Toy Boy that I reviewed here a couple of weeks ago. I may go for Amouage's Lyric Man, okay? Because it's unless I'm really missing something, and unless the woody ambers are kind of making me anosmic to whatever rose is in here, I'm not getting a huge amount of rose, it has to be said. I'm getting a dewiness, okay? So I'm getting a watery freshness. I'm getting maybe a sort of gentle, petally, maybe slightly powdery feel. Definitely I'm getting something peachy, apricotty in the top, which I think also gives this, it sort of ties in with the woods, right? Because of course apricot, peach have a kind of almondy, woody facet that works well with the base here. But this is not what I would be reaching for if I wanted to get a rose hit that would make me feel a bit butch, if we want to put it that way. So there's the sort of received wisdom out there that you must not put the word rose or even mention the rose note in a perfume that's going to be marketed at men, because men absolutely don't want to have anything to do with rose. They don't want to be seen connected with roses, etc., etc., etc. But of course, there are plenty of perfumes aimed at men out there that do contain rose or a rose note, because it's such a crucial, vital perfumery ingredient that has a very important effect on the rest of the composition. This, to me, feels like it's been made for a guy who actually maybe wants to kind of gain some kind of bit of olfactory street cred, I don't know, and be able to say, hey, I'm really, really comfortable with myself and I'm wearing a perfume with rose in the name, but I don't actually want to smell of this stuff. I want to be able to say, I'm wearing L'Homme à la Rose, but this smells of woods, this smells of stuff that's going to make you go, I'm going to rip your chest hair off just by staring at it. Little bit disappointing, I think I have to say, Captain Kirk. And I feel like apologizing, but then, he wouldn't be what he is if he didn't do what he does, and I wouldn't be what I am if I didn't do what I do, or something like that. Let's look at the comments, and then we will look at the press material. It should also be said, and I do have to give him his due here, that he hasn't gone down the way of the patchouli cliche, okay? Because that's the sort of standard way to make a rose masculine. Just stick a lot of patchouli in there. He hasn't done that, so I suppose we should give him due credit there. It feels like there's loads of comments coming, but I don't know whether you're sort of talking to each other. Okay, where did we get to? No, cricket. Somebody mentioned cricket. I don't even understand cricket. I remember being made to play cricket in PE lessons when I was growing up in the Middle East, and actually thinking, please, would somebody explain to me what is going on in this game? So no, I don't get cricket at all. Thank you very much. There's still some solid water on eBay. Right, please bring Captain Kirk here. This would be so great, says Flacconess. Yes, I think so too. If you're watching Captain Kirk, or if you're watching Captain Kirk's people, let's try and make it happen. Eric says, I can't remember which of his masculines I tried, but one of them was so intensely woody amber that I tossed my sample. Oh, well, I wonder if it was the gentle fluidity one. Or what came up, was there an Amiris Homme as well? I wonder. Ashfaq says, another urbane, safe sell with an overdose of your favourite woody amber. Urbane is a good word here again. Eric says, this makes me feel prescient. Okay, I have to pick it up as a Christmas gift for myself, says Everyday Products. Are we still talking about this perfume here? I appreciate your honesty, says Eve. Thank you very much. Hello from Chicago, says Victoria. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday, which I'm celebrating with a live Persolaise video. I'm really, really touched. Thank you. Happy birthday. Right, everybody, focus on Chicago now. Everybody watching this video, just think about Chicago, think about Victoria, and send her all the best birthday wishes for the coming year and for the years ahead. So the whole world is wishing you a happy birthday now. Did you feel that? Look, we just sent all those positive vibes your way. Can we ask Ifra to ban Ambroxan, says Everyday Products? Right. Some manspread. How does this compare to Rosu by Aesop, says Andy? Good question. I mean, Rosu's beautiful and has got a really, really pronounced rose note, but also has lots and lots of interesting things happening to it. So I would choose Rosu in a heartbeat as opposed to this, I'm afraid. You have defined the petals, says Peggy. Now where are the thorn elements? I think the thorn elements must be the woody ambers, I think that's got to be them. I hope I'm not missing any comments here, because lots of you have been writing. Cartier Déclaration Soir is one of my favorite rose perfumes. Yes, that's an interesting one. Nice use of cashmeran there from Mathilde Laurent. Gavin says, you're looking gorgeous. Is that me still? Thank you very much. Melek says, hello Dariush, good morning to you from Vancouver. Thanks for tuning in. Thought it was going to be a green rose, says Q George. There is a bit of a green note there as well, but it's mainly those woody ambers. And Keith says, this one doesn't sound very interesting. Let's very quickly look at the press release. Attractive image there. It says, L'Homme à la Rose, Francis Kurkdjian's new olfactory opus, is clear and straightforward. Its sillage following in the footsteps of à la Rose, an iconic fragrance from the Maison's wardrobe created in 2014. I love à la Rose. Its identity speaks for itself while drawing inspiration from the famous portrait of Marie Antoinette by Louise Elizabeth Vigée-Lebrun, which exalts not the power of the Queen of France, but the power of women and femininity as she poses with a rose in place of a royal scepter. So, L'Homme à la Rose, a simple name for a multi-layered story. The mysteries of Francis Kurkdjian's inspiration are more complex than they seem. After the gentle fluidity duo, which called gender norms into question, he brings us L'Homme à la Rose, a creation echoing anew his quest for modern, ever-evolving perfumery. Perfumery which shakes up age-old rules, habits and conventions. In this composition, we find his endless and always welcome freedom to create his unique personal style and the hallmarks of this creative maison bearing his own signature. And maybe a little bit about the perfume. A rose-scented fragrance for men, fresh and radiant with strong diffusion properties. To me, those woody ambers are actually what stop the thing from becoming truly, truly fresh. There's a real weight to them. A signature rose you can't miss. These words are the guiding principles the Maison's perfumer defined for himself. High-level creative ambition combined with technical constraints, known since ancient times and included in the perfumer's palette since the very beginning of his career. Rose is more often featured in women's fragrances where it is used alone or in conjunction with other ingredients. It can be blended with different notes to create an accord, rose jasmine, rose violet, etc., to name only the most common pairings, but when used this way, rose often falls into the shadows. I feel like there should be more, but I didn't get any more. So, honestly for myself, if I wanted a guy rose, I would be going for something different. And let me just make sure I haven't missed any other comments. Angeline says, Tom Ford does a number of manly roses, Noir de Noir. Thank you very much. Or Café Rose come to mind. And of course, Abbey Rouge has a lovely rosy note via the geranium. Very true. Andy says, how much does Kurkdjian charge for his average bottle? I'm not sure about average bottle, but I think this one is going to be retailing at £180 for this bottle. So pennies, folks. Absolute pennies. I'm very late for this episode, says Nazanin, but can't resist to say I'm glad you haven't cut your hair. They look very handsome. Thank you very much. That's really sweet. And Melek says, I still believe that Old Spice is one of the greatest roses. Good mention there. Good shout. The geranium perfumes, the rose geranium perfumes of all time. And Gavin says, Marie Antoinette, someone for men to truly aspire to. Well, we're allowed to like cake too. Thank you very much, Gavin. What's wrong with aspiring to Marie's millefeuille? Speaking of which, oh, I could murder a millefeuille. Haven't had a La Durée millefeuille. Anyway, never mind. Thanks for watching this video, folks. For those of you sticking around for the live, Oh, I like my head, says Gavin. Yes, actually, so do I. For those of you sticking around for the live, YouTube will need to do its thing, about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we will come back with a release that I haven't smelt. A flanker to a huge, huge perfume. See you in a bit. Bye.